Okay, looks like we're back here. Part 7, I guess we are. I'm not really paying close attention. Everything seems tight. Um, hmm. So, options for cutting this off. Fret nippers, fret slotting style, fret slotting saw, but the teeth might get into the neck and leave marks, so, X-Acto knife. You might come at it from underneath with the X-Acto, but then you're putting more stress on pushing it up, which is going to try to make it fall apart. So I'm thinking fret nippers might be the safest move. Maybe fret nippers and then fret in dressing a file or something to clean it up if it's nasty looking. But yeah, let me try some nippers. Okay. Cross your fingers. So far, this toothpick BS has worked. Let's see what happens here. One cool thing is this is all natural wood. So, well, it nipped, but it didn't actually come off. So, when it comes time to actually finish this stuff, great. Might have to get that X-Acto knife anyway. That's not really going to work, is it? Yeah, I'll have to figure out something here. But yeah, like it was, oh, there we go. A little nip. Yeah, it's still got a burr. But yeah, it's all natural wood still, so any place where it's not like sealed up with the super glue, it ought to still take stain and all kind of look the right color and stuff, so. Let's see how I do here. That was a little cleaner. But yeah, it is leaving. It's terrible. When I'm like, at home or whatever you would call it, in my natural state, I swear like a sailor. And like 3/4 of the words that come out of my mouth are profanity. But yeah, so there's still some, I would normally say something that you couldn't say in public. Mixed company, as they say. But yeah, there's still some stuff sticking out on either side, so this is going to need some kind of cleaning up. Don't want to do a sander. That nuked the side of this thing. Let's see what an X-Acto will do. Maybe I can smooth that out a bit with an X-Acto. Or maybe some kind of a fret file of some sort. Once again, I can always mask this off. I wonder if I masked it off with some kind of a guard or something. If I could then just zap it right quick with 60 grit on the sander and blend all that in. But then again, I might be risking too much vibrational stuff going on with my cyanoacrylate and everything crumbled before me. So yeah, I'm going to play it slow and safe, not put this under a lot of stress. I mean, it's only got to hold, well, let's see, you're at about 75 pounds going this way. And so, yeah, brake angles, whatever it is. And, yeah, cosine of the angle is the force, that kind of thing. So, yeah, not that much downforce. Let's say, if you were here, you'd have 0 downforce. If you were here, you'd have 100% downforce, and you were here, you'd have about, I guess, around 50. So, yeah, you're probably less than 25% downforce. Call it 20%. So if you're at We'll be generous and call it 80. I think it's actually like more like 76 pounds for a set of 8s in the way of string tension. Go to stringjoy.com. They got a calculator online. But yeah, so let's call it 80 pounds, and if you're only 20% of 80 pounds, so that'd be 8 times 2 is 16 pounds of downforce on this thing. So yeah, there's not a lot of hole pressure going down from the strings, so I don't want to like put it under super stress. It's only got to deal with 16 pounds of downforce, and it's got a stable base. So let me find a gentle file or something. I'll be back. Okay, we're gonna take the approach that the guy that I learned building guitars from would take. This is on an incredibly small scale, but he would carve it. Get my X-ray specs on here. Oh my god, cool. You can just cut it like butter. I don't even have to carve. I can just cut gently and get it all nice and sloped and cut back. Very nice. Yeah, that's the kind of thing we want when we get in. Get in this way just a little bit. Just catching this, yeah. You can see good enough the general idea of what I'm doing, so. If this were your guitar and you were doing this, it'd be more up close and personal, but you've got the idea of what you'd be doing. Once you got into it, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it. So, yeah. This should actually be adequate for instructional purposes too. Need to erase that line, don't I? That's showing up on my work. No lines allowed. I'm going to stain this. Oh yeah, that's what we want. I'm starting to feel like Ben Crow here, man. I gotta watch my language. My stuff is looking awfully clean. Yeah. Oh, it's a little hard down here at the bottom where the glue is. I guess I'm gonna have to just leave that be. Get this little, got some on the end of the blade there. This blade is also not exactly fresh. Switch back to my handedness hand. I'm doing okay there for left-handed, considering I'm not left-handed. Mom was though, so a little bit of the ambidextrous in me, but not really. And this little bit doesn't really want to come out. I guess I gotta give up on that. Am I just being obsessive compulsive about this, or what? Or is it a case of you do something, you do it very well, and then you move on? Come on, give me that little flake. I think I gouged into the neck a little bit. Where's that glue? There we go. Cool. That's what we want to see. Where's my eraser? This line messeth with my mind. It doth messeth. Forsooth, and there was messing with the minds, and there was much anguish and gnashing. and feasting upon the orangutans and breakfast cereals. Or something like that. I don't know. Only python. Yeah, that's looking pretty good there. Okay, close-up time. There we are. All nice and cut flush and stuff. Once you stand that up, that should look okay. People go, wow, check that out, man. It's a little cantilever thing with a beam. Alright, so, other side. Done with the tape. We'll have to remark the center line if we have to. Yeah. I don't need to waste bandwidth and footage filming this. I'll trim up the other side. I'll be back. Well, that was easy. This one cut off in almost one swipe pretty much. There's just a little flake back there. It doesn't want to come off, so. And then just hit it with the eraser, get that line out of the way. I think we can color that done. There's our tool. There's our tool. Double check. Yeah, we got a little clearance. It's a little low on this side. I mean, it's not low. It's not too low. It's actually, that might be too low. Alright. Put it together, see if it buzzes. If it does, I'll crack it off and slap a little bit of brass on this side. But, yeah. For now, it's looking okay on this side. So, we'll see what happens. We shall see. Alright, so, yeah, and we're pretty much there too, because we got a nut. We got some string throughs. We got some tuners, and it's a floating bridge, which means I believe strings are next. Okay. Before we can string this up, there's one more thing to do, and that's the trees. And for the trees, you really need to figure out exactly where the strings are going to run. So, let me move the camera back up. So, there's a number of ways you can go about this. Okay. Let's see. One trick is you put on the number 1 and number 6 strings, or use a piece of string instead, and you run them down, and that way you can get, everything straight as far as like your neck tilt, as far as like how far you are from the edge of the fretboard with your strings, as far as like your saddle spacing and what have you. That kind of idea. See this coming up, yeah, cool. So that's one approach. Let's see, what are some other approaches? You can get a straight edge and use it in place of the strip. That kind of an idea. Let's see here. And what I'm interested in is if I'm going to have something that's like halfway between here and my saddle line, somewhere back here, this is going to be like my tree line, I guess you would say, for my 6 tree posts. So yeah, so then I would set it in the first groove, come down here. I want to be, let's say you're going to set up even and go 2 millimeters inside of both sides, even though you usually go like 3 on this side. So yeah, I'd go here and I'd go about 2 millimeters in, and then wherever this crosses my tree line, that's going to tell me roughly where I want to put my nail. That's another approach. A third approach would be using some mathematics and trigonometry. There, what you do, basically, what trig says is that if we go from our slot here, if you know, right, this is a 42 millimeter nut, right? Get on camera, you stupid nut. All right, yeah, 42 millimeter nut, right? So, I mean, you all heard that. It's a pretty standard size kind of thing. Where's my triangle? My little baby triangle that's got the nice metric and it's all brass and stuff. I like that. It's a nice instrument. A nice tool. Yeah. Where's my X-ray specs? There's the X-ray specs, already on the table. Let's X-ray this thing and see how wide it is. Okay, so this is a 55 at the 24th. So your 42 to 55, that's a difference of 13 millimeters. So then what you do is you measure the distance from here to here, and it's, I don't know, where's the metric? I just had a, what do I do with that thing? Oh, here it is. Right, so, turn around. So basically what we got going on is we got us a really little triangle. And this is one corner, and that's the second corner, and that's the third corner. And our triangle, the base side, is 490, let's call it 496 millimeters long. And then this part here we already figured out was what? That's 42 to 50 to 55 was 13, half 13, so 6.5. So yeah, we're at a triangle that's 492 long and it's 6.5 tall, and opposite 6.5 over adjacent 492 is the tangent of this little baby angle here. Okay, and then you can take the adjacent distance, which is this distance down the center line, and you can plug it in with the tangent formula and come up with the opposite distance, which is how far you're offset from straight down the number 6 string at anywhere to get straight string pull, which is kind of a neat thing. Now you see you're 6.5 millimeters all the way in, so you don't want to be 4.5, or you don't want to be at the 24th. So your actual angle would be the tangent of opposite over adjacent 4.5 over 400 and whatever, 88, I said, something like that. So yeah, that would tell you this angle, and then from that you could then reverse the formula, say that my adjacent is 750 or 745, let's say, and then from that I could calculate out if my string is here at 4.5, it would come up with this distance here for my pin. And that's the trick way of doing it. I'm thinking that the straight edge way of doing it is going to be the easiest. You just go here, you go about 2, go about there. You got your line already struck out here, all nice and perpendicular to your center line. You go like that. And wherever the base of this thing falls, that's where your pin goes. So, and then you do like the two outsides at like 2 millimeters. You do from like this slot at 2 millimeters from the fretboard edge right here. So what's coming in on camera? Yeah, cool. Alright, so yeah, you go from this slot, number one slot, 2 millimeters from the edge, come down to your tree line, drop your vertical, and there's your hole. And then you do the same on this side, drop your vertical, there's your other hole. You got two marks from pencil where your holes go, and then from that you can figure out in general how wide they need to be, and then divide by 5 or 6 or whatever in order to figure out the spacing between the holes in order to get all 6 going, and then just center it on the center line and go for it. And I think that's the way to go. So that's the plan. Let's do it. Well, this seems to be about the best that the camera can manage for a shot of this thing. I'm sorry it's so blurry, but yeah, there's one of the roller trees. To string it up, we're going to need roller trees first, right? So, yeah, string comes down, hits a roller tree, and goes off to a tuner. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to define a line for the roller trees. And that means that it's time to start thinking about the third dimension. We've thought about the guitar lengthwise and scale length and, bridge line and whether our tuners and our strings will reach and all that kind of happy stuff, right? And, how much string we had left above the note. We've thought about the thing lengthwise and where our neckline was. Yeah, we got all our lengths figured out. I mean, come on. We're bad, bold, and confident, right? Recorded live and unscripted. Here we go. Let's see. Electric Kool-Aid acid test, ladies and gentlemen. We're up against the nut, and we're coming down to our line. And yeah, I'd say that's, can you see the line here? Let me point it out. That's the line, like, right about there. And yeah, that's, if you can get this thing to focus, that's 25 and a half, so yeah, we're right on the mark. Just where it should be. So the deal is that we've thought about this thing lengthwise, and we've had a center line going on the whole time. We worried about getting the neck curves, the same distance, the same, however far it was down, in order to get everything to blend and everything. And we shifted the neck left and right to make it comfortable and all that stuff, but it's still lined up. So we thought about the thing left to right, and we thought about the thing lengthwise, but now it's time to start thinking about the height. Yeah, how high this is, how high this is, how high these can be, how high these are, what your break angle is going to be back here, what your action is going to be here. We've already figured out the nut end of things, so we've got we've got comfortable clearance at the nut, shall we say, if not sloppy from a shredder point of view. Almost sloppy. We'll be kind, right? No, it's really not that bad. It's pretty. Actually, it might actually have issues on the treble side. So, on the bass side, it's a little higher than I would normally run right smack at the fret plane. I got no problems all day long. All my Fenders, scale lengths. Zero relief. Nut slot at the fret plane, not above, not fret at the third and put a business card. None of that. Fuck that bullshit. Pardon my French. You know, get a clue or die, man. That's all I got to say. Or both. I don't care. Either way. So, yeah. Try it. Find out. Well, at least with 8s. Yeah, set your shit flat. Alright, sorry. Set it flat. Nut slots at the fret plane. Set your fret plane flat. Get your frets flat. Yeah, I was talking earlier about the fret plane. So yeah, the fret plane is the top of the frets, assuming they're flat. You don't really care whether the fretboard is flat or not. You know, a notched straight edge, throw that in the trash, basically. All you need is a flat straight edge, and all you got to worry about is the top of the frets. You don't care about anything else. You just care about the top of the frets. Top of the frets are all that matter as far as like how the instrument plays and sounds. You know, the rest of it is, you know, if you can detect the difference in the height of one fret versus the next, versus the wear on your fretboard, then good for you. You know, so yeah, it's all about the fret plane. Screw the fretboard. People are nuts, man. And it's all about the, let's see, you got here's your string length. So you got your half is at the 12th, your quarters at like halfway down from the 12th would be around the 5th, and your 8th is, yeah, around 2 or 3, so half, quarter, 8th, yeah, it's your 8th overtones on the string vibrations that are the ones that are going to give you the buzz, and it'll be around the 2nd or 3rd fret usually, if your stuff's too low on either end. It'll buzz more at the bottom end if you're too low on the nut. I mean, it'll buzz more closer in the nut if you're low on the nut side. If you're low on the saddle side, it won't be quite as close to the nut, but unless you've seen them both, you wouldn't know the difference, so. But yeah, it's the 8th overtones, because see, you pluck a string, I got a string here, let's say, and I pluck it, and it's going to go wave, right? But it's also going to do harmonics that go half wave, and it's also going to go harmonics that go quarter wave, and it's also going to go harmonics that go 8th wave with 4 waves from here to here, and another 4 from here to here. And it's those 8th waves, the peaks of the 8th waves, that kiss the top of your number 3 fret when you buzz. So, anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah, I took physics and sound and all that kind of stuff, so. Where are we at? Right, so, yeah, we got to think about the 3rd dimension here. Our height here, our height here, our height here, and our height here. This is going to be, I think this might be an issue. Because, look, here's the deal. If we're here, give me a string or something. I lost the string. Oh, give me a second. Okay, so here's our string. And we're coming down off the bridge. Can you see this? Yeah, okay, cool. So, the idea is that now if we put our pin in the middle, we're coming off the bridge. If we put our pin like halfway between the bridge and tuners, then we're going to get this angle on it. And the less angle we got, the greater we're going to get in the way of tuning stability, because every time especially once we put a roller bridge on this thing, every time the player does a bend, it's going to stretch all this stuff. And it's got a roller here already, and the least amount of angle we've got, I don't want to bend this string, but you know, if you're like this, it's going to be higher resistance for rolling and bending and coming back to where it's supposed to and staying in tune than if it's straighter. So we want to try to keep this angle as straight as possible between here, and we want to keep the break angle basically around the tree as shallow as possible. So we've got to go from here to here. This is coming up, yeah, this is coming up. Alright, so if we go in the middle, then we got a break angle of, I don't know, let's say 30 degrees, okay? If we went like way down here by the tuner, we'd have a much steeper break angle. Let's say we're at about 60, 70 degrees now, you know, it's insane in the membrane here. And that obviously is going to have, you know, it's a lot of force for me just to pull it in this configuration. So that's definitely gonna, and it's putting a groove in my thumb. So yeah, that's definitely gonna put more pressure on the tree, which is gonna make the thing less easy to roll around the tree, which means that when you do bend or pull on it in any way, shape, or form, really, it's going to be less likely to go right back to exactly the same groove on the wound string. If I can keep it in the light but get it close to the camera, and it won't, it just can't. This thing just can't shoot stuff up close. I don't know if I got it on low res or what, but I'm trying to do everything I can in order to like keep stuff as low res as possible, because uploads are just nuts, man. It's like insanely slow. You know how it is. The stuff is designed for consumption, not for production. But anyway, yeah, so the whole idea is you want to reduce basically what it boils down to is the tighter this angle is here, the more force there's going to be on that pin. So we want to reduce this angle as much as possible, which means I think we want the pins like right behind the bridge, kind of a thing. So if our bridge line is here, then basically we want the pins to more or less be like maybe an inch behind the bridge, about 2 centimeters, kind of an idea. And I think that might want to go 3, and that gives us some wiggle room for some intonation and stuff, but something in that range, like, you know, about an inch and a half, or 2 to 3 centimeters, 20 to 30 millimeters, as far as like how far back. So yeah, I mean, like, you know, cosmetically they might look cooler back here somewhere, but I think that from now, but see, the other concern is up here, you're here, your fret plane's already here, so your string really should be more up here, so your bridge really needs to be a bit higher. Probably need to put like a 1/4 inch plywood base plate underneath this thing, which I can grab up right quick just to give you an idea, and then cut out one in natural wood. But yeah, so this should be, you know, higher kind of a thing, and then we got the height of the pins. Where'd my pin go? There's my pin. Yeah, see the pins, once you get them in and you get them down, let's say you put them halfway in, you only got like, shoot, you got less than 10 mils sticking up. So really, we should probably build a pin bridge for this thing. And, like, fix it behind the regular bridge. Somehow. By gluing or screwing are going to be the two basic options. I'm thinking gluing would look cleaner. So, yeah. I'm thinking that's what we're going to be looking at. Let's get some heights going on here. So this is the fret plane, and at the bridge this is supposed to be a high visibility ruler, and it sure is on the SAE side, and the metric side is fucking blue on black, pardon my French. But yeah, talk about fucking, yeah. See, I told you I swear like a sailor. Yeah, so talk about useless contrast colors for your for your foreground and your background text. So yeah, once again, bad designer, no Twinkie. I could go on about it all day. I used to build, I started out building operating environments, which is basically like Windows. Yeah, back in the day, before Windows, there was DOS and text mode, but there were also a few operating environments, which was basically a program that you could run on your DOS computer that more or less turned it into Windows. HP made one, a few other people made one, and I made one. Then I got into computer games. Anyway, where are we at here? Right, we need some heights. I need the X-ray glasses because of the fact this thing is so darn hard to see. Okay. It's hard to read, but the thing's got a pretty good zero edge on it, so it should give us some pretty decent numbers. It's off by less than half a mil. Okay, let's start with the number 6. Well, the number 6, maybe we should do 2 and 3 and get the center. Yeah, the camera's sort of in the way. Yeah, the camera is kind of in the way, actually, almost. I'm going to need a flashlight for this. Yeah, hold on a sec. Where'd the flashlight go? It's one of these jobs where you need 3 hands. Okay, cool. That's okay. Still got a mouth. But I won't talk during this. You might even see my head. Alright. I'm talking with the flashlight in my mouth now. I got the end of the music stick in the number 6 slot. I got it. Got 2 millimeters over from the edge of the fretboard. Got the action at, about 1.5 mil. There, not quite. Alright, I'm squeezing it together. That's my reading. What's my reading? Oh shoot, I'm right on 30. Alright, give me a piece of paper and a pen. I'm gonna make note of that. There's some paper. So we got 30 millimeters is going to be our saddle height for number 6 at the bridge. Alright. that gives us some good numbers to go on. So this thing's going to need to be 30 millimeters tall. And where's the brass one? It's easy to read. There's a, nope, that's just a piece of brass. Zoom in over here. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so this, where are we at? Yeah, screws go this way. This is number 6. So this is showing up. Yeah, so this saddle right here is going to need to be 30 millimeters tall. And if we're coming down here, and I'm going to measure from this end because it's made for an arch top. Yeah, this thing is only, when it's all the way down, it's only at about, shoot, 18 millimeters. Wow. So this, the 2 millimeters will make us 20, so it's going to need another 12 millimeters to be at roughly the correct height for action with the settings all the way down. It's going to have to come up 12, so probably need about 10 millimeters of spacer underneath the bridge. Let me make a note of that. Around 10. Then, okay, so if this saddle is going to be about 30 millimeters tall, and this guy is going to be only like an inch or so behind the bridge. Where are we at here? Oh, an inch is not really enough from the saddle, probably. Let's go 1.5 inches. Or in metric terms, let's call it, let's go 50 millimeters. Let's go 50 millimeters from this line. So, give me a pencil. A pencil. Yeah. A messy desk is a sign of creativity, right? Notice how everything is exactly, I say, give me this, and there it is, and give me that, and there it is, because why? It's messy. Every time I clean up, all it means is that everything that used to be at hand, like the pencil, I can no longer find. And then I can't remember where it was stored, where I stored it. Well, I know where I keep pencils, but... Alright, so where are we at? Okay, so we wanted to go back. We were going to call it 50 millimeters. Give me the nice one. 50 millimeters. And that's going to be our tree line. There. And then we got to figure out, let's put this on this part, we got to figure out how big the spacer's going to be, how tall and stuff. Once you figure out how tall it is, then we can figure out, you know, how wide and stuff, how beefy to make it, so it's nice and stable. I actually have some old bridges, you know, like a bridge with just a cut nail for a bar for a bridge kind of thing. I've got a couple of those already made up, nice little trapezoids and stuff. That might work out real nice, and just cut it down or something. So, yeah, I think this is going to be the tree line, and this is going to be the bridge line, and I'll be right back. Okay, just thought I'd mention something here. Because of the soft nature of this wood, there's a high probability that once it gets under tension, this part here is going to start to bend. This neck angle is going to change. The angle that the strings follow, basically, between the fret plane and the height of the bridge, all that's going to change in the body and everything as this thing comes under tension and gets used to being in load. It takes it a while, a week, a month, whatever, to get used to that. And And once it's done moving, everything's cool. You just, readjust it, and you're good to go. It's just the nature of this particular wood I'm working with. So, yeah, a reshimming of the neck is anticipated. I've had to do it on most of the other builds I've done using this wood. Hi, little Blackie. How's my baby girl? How's my precious little baby? My little baby one. This is my little baby one here, or release her tail. She's the youngest of all of my kittens. Youngest and littlest. And she reminds me of her, let's see, Sam's her mom. She's she's actually my very first black cat. She's all black. Her mom's a tuxedo cat, almost a black cat, but not quite. And her grandma was moo cow, and her great grandmother, my original kitten, was also a tuxedo, black and white, symmetrical. Anyway, yeah, so where we're at, yeah, all this is going to essentially be subject to change. Well, not much change, but for the moment, we've got the heights for the way things are now. But eventually, this body is probably going to bend a little this way once it comes under tension. And because of that, the neck break angle is going to become shallow.